Hello and welcome into the Hawkeye HHQ Weekly podcast. Evan Dunn alongside Joel Keller. Joel, this is a bad case of deja vu. Another close game for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They go on the road to USC. They fall 26-21. Another one-score loss. What are your initial takeaways?
It's exactly like you said, deja vu. It's the same thing over and over. It's like, man, if one or two things had gone the Hawks' way,
Right.
it could be such a happy podcast, such a great week. The Hawks could, after this loss, after the loss against Oregon, probably not in the playoff picture, but there's still hope. There's still a chance, still being ranked 21 going into the game against USC. But now it's all done. What is there to play for?
You're not wrong about that. It was the best of times. It's also the worst of times. We watched the game together over at Public House to help raise money for the Stead Family Children's Hospital. Great time on Saturday.
It was an amazing time. Great crowd of people to watch. If you're ever wanting to go to a bar of some sort for a game, Public House, it's got my stamp of approval on it.
It was a really, really good time. Great cause, obviously. But first half, all right, they led 21-10 at halftime. They had 3 different touchdown drives of at least 7 plays each. They were moving the ball efficiently against this pretty good USC defense, and then it just went away in the second half.
Yeah, it just poof, like that. Came out of the locker rooms, and usually it's the Hawkeyes. They're the ones making the adjustments at half that put them in a position to win. But, man, I don't think I've seen this team look as bad as they did in that second half, especially offensively. It seemed like they just completely forgot how to move the ball, which, there was a lot of injuries, especially to the offensive line.
Right.
Doesn't help. But, we've been hearing how deep this O-line is. I'd expect them to move a USC line that's not nearly as talented as some of the other lines the Hawks have faced. A little better than that, even with going to some of the reserves.
Their second half summary for offense, they had 2 punts, a wild interception that took a couple deflections, and then a turnover on downs where Norwegian was out of bounds by maybe all of 6 inches. But that totaled 108 yards on 4 drives, and 61 of them came on the final 10-play drive when they needed to score, but they turned it over on downs. That's just not going to win you many football games.
No, it's not. And you could go to those 2 plays, the tipped pick and the Norwegian that was out of bounds, and then there's pictures floating around was he in for 0.1 of a second? It's like, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But those 2 plays are just the epitome of the Iowa season, I think. It is just so close.
Yeah. It's cliche, but of course, football is a game of inches, and literally, you can make an argument that Iowa is a total of 3 or 4 plays away from being either 9-1 or 10-0, and clearly in the playoff picture. And that's so frustrating for many Iowa fans.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time. You go back to 2015, that was really the last time the Hawks had a real chance of making the playoffs. How'd that season end, or how'd the playoff bid end? Couple of inches to Michigan State, which haunts me to this day. But this year, the second year at the 12-team playoff, I think, like many Hawkeye fans, expected Iowa to make the playoff one of these first 4 years, 4 or 5 years. So there's still time. I think Iowa's a perennial 2 or 3 times a decade playoff team. But this is a year where it really got to the point where it's like, okay, this could be it. Like, they're going to break through here in the second year of the 12-team playoff, and who knows what happens come playoff time, right?
And obviously, not being from Iowa, I've always heard that, the fans rally behind their team, and I really started to feel that leading into the Oregon game. Okay, this is the team. This is the year that we believe. There was so much hype and anticipation. The crowds brought it, and then just the smallest of margins have held this team back, seemingly year in and year out.
Yeah. You start off with all this hope, right? And then it's whether it's a loss to Iowa State or an early season loss to a good Big Ten team, then you're kind of like, okay, like, there goes the special season. And then Iowa comes out of a bye and destroys a couple of teams that you kind of expect to be a little closer. And then here you go, all this anticipation for the upcoming games, and you always get left disappointed, it seems.
What did you make of Iowa running their version of the Philly special on that end-around pass back to Gronowski by Reese Vanderzee?
Well, they're calling it the Stella.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that's a bar in Iowa City that's just down the block of Kinnick. It's the closest bar to Kinnick. And they run a stand of just a whole bunch of beverages that you can order before when you walk in. It's actually they got a pretty cool setup out there. But I think it's hilarious that they're naming these trick plays after bars in Iowa City, and that play was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you give it to a wide receiver who played quarterback in high school. I mean, and he throws it to Mark Gronowski, who's obviously an athlete, one of the best on the team, probably. And, it was a great play.
Like you said, naming a trick play after a local bar, that's a pretty funny touch. Do you think they have a airliner play in that playbook?
They got to. I don't know if they can pull it out until they have someone who can toss it 50 yards down the field, because I feel like that's what you would need from the play if you're going to name it airliner. But, there's something like between 40 to 50 bars in Iowa City. So are we going to see a whole bunch of new trick plays?
I wouldn't mind that for the bowl game coming up.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Make us watch, make us interested.
Absolutely. So Iowa, they have an inability to win close games. They're now 1-4 on the year. They have 4 losses, obviously. Is that just bad luck? Is that kind of a deeper issue of not being able to come up clutch as a program, would you say?
I think it's kind of bad luck. I mean, you can't write off bad luck for all the losses. Mm-hmm. I think a couple of them, Indiana, it's defense needs to hold there. Especially luck, you could go maybe with Iowa State. There's still a lot of time left, but I mean, the tip pass completion that Iowa State had it was a game changer. And then the long field goal, and you can go to a lot of luck in that game, I think. But ultimately, I would agree. Over these past couple of years, Iowa needs to kind of make that step. They've been sitting behind, waiting for that big upset, waiting for that big win since 2021, and I think next year they've got to make that move.
I think the 2 biggest what if plays for me are going back to the Indiana game. Gronowski goes out, that screen pass from Hank Brown over to Kamari Moulton. If that pass is complete, yes, Tim Lester has said on record that that would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, even if it's not. Even if it's not,
it's a first down at the least. That play changes the entire season. And I know that's putting a lot of pressure on Hank Brown coming in at a very inopportune time, but that play would have given Iowa so much momentum to not only win that game, but hey, you know what? We can beat a top 5 team. We can compete with the best of the best. But in the end, that game goes down as a loss, one of Iowa's 4 losses on the year. That one's the one that got away for me. You look at it, Iowa is 1-2 against playoff teams from a year ago. Obviously, Penn State has not what we thought they were going to be, but they still beat Penn State. This team is right on the cusp. Seemingly every year, like you said, they're a team that can make it to the playoff 2 times in a decade. But how do they get over that hump?
Yeah, I think the passing game is still continually fell short. Granted, this is a much better offense than we've seen. I am bought into Tim Lester. I think he's going to start getting his guys like getting Xavier Stinson over this past week. These are going to be big recruits coming in. And, I think that's going to be the key. If they can get a passing game that's going for even just 200, 225 yards per game, that's going to be massive, because they already have an elite rushing attack. But when teams can stack the box on you, teams can really control that, and they can keep Iowa at bay. So I think the offense is still where they're going to make that leap, but they're getting better. They're getting better, and I'm sold on this team.
Now, do you think it's imperative, that Iowa has a passer that consistently gets over 200 passing yards? Because we have someone right now, Mark Gronowski, all right? And his legs are phenomenal. I mean, they give Iowa a physical run game from the quarterback spot. But do you think for Iowa to hopefully at some point get over the hump, they need to have someone who can just drop back in the pocket consistently?
I think so. And not even, I guess, 200 maybe is like a too broad of a way to put it, but someone who can make those deep throws.
Yeah.
If you look back at some of the film against USC, there was a couple of plays that Gronowski underthrew an open receiver, but on that same play, and what should have been, I think, probably the first read, there was someone wide open down the seam, automatic touchdown if you put it anywhere close to him. So I think someone who can make those passes, and we've seen that with C.J. Beathard. Nate Stanley could a little bit, especially at the end of his career, and that's when Iowa really started to roll with Stanley at the helm. But C.J. Beathard, Ricky Stanzi could, and they had a great year in 2009 with Stanzi. So someone who can get the ball down the field and force teams to drop safeties back every once in a while.
Nate Stanley is still the last Iowa quarterback to throw for over 2,000 yards in 1 year. It's been a while, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
And that's going to stay as well this year
Yeah.
with Mark at 1,200.
Yeah, that's a pretty low number.
It is, yeah.
Through 10 games. Do you remember where you were back in 2022? What year in school were you?
2022, I would have been a sophomore.
So that was the last time that Iowa lost consecutive regular season games.
Wow.
And I mean, we're in November, and Iowa's known for being a top-notch team in November. They've lost back-to-back games. That's a weird stat, isn't it?
It is. You kind of forget about it during the length of a season, I think, because I mean, I think back to 22, 23, I'm like, well, there was some tough losses, but no, you're right. I mean, they were able to come out of that with a win both times. But I think the combo of having Oregon and then you have to travel West Coast with USC, that's a tough 2-game stretch. Every Iowa fan would have loved the split, I think, realistically, but to go 0-2 is tough.
All right, so not to put you on the spot, but Oregon plays USC on Saturday in a massive game. Obviously, they both just played Iowa recently. Do you have a pick in that one?
Oregon, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
That quickly? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you have to think about it for a little bit.
No, USC, their offense started looking good, and Mekhi Lemon I think, played himself into a round 1
Yes, he did.
pick. But no, I think Oregon's just they're rolling right now. I think the Iowa win is probably like the wake me up win.
Yeah.
Where they snuck out of there. And yeah, I think they're gonna dominate.
Eugene will be buzzing for sure. I kind of like USC.
Wow.
Lincoln Riley, I was big into the anti-Lincoln Riley campaign before the year started, but he's proven that when his back is against the wall, he can bring out the best in his players, and I think they're gonna ride this momentum to a 10 or 11 seed in the playoff. That they're gonna make the playoff. So.
I mean, 2-loss team, they're still in it. They're still sticking around. So I'd love to see it. The more Big Ten teams, the better, in my opinion. Even though I hate that it's not the Hawks,
but so going back to Iowa now, they have a new emerging tight end in DJ Vonami. He had 4 catches for 59 yards against USC to lead the team. Obviously had a big performance against Oregon. With him back next year, plus Addison Ostrenga, and they have some other tight ends. How excited are you to see this tight end room emerge?
Yeah, this is going to be amazing. I mean, this is just Hawkeye football.
Yeah.
To a T. Yeah. Tight ends are fun to watch in the Iowa system. Tim Lester still heavily leans on tight ends. So I'm excited. And Vonami is a great story. I mean, he was hyped up all summer, fall, really up until he got in and started playing after the Ostrenga injury. And he had a couple bad drops that first game, but now he's kind of, I think, he's gotten more comfortable out there on the field, and you can see him. He's starting to make plays and starting to look really good.
And Kirk talked about him in his weekly press conference on Tuesday, saying, we knew we kind of had a hidden gem here, but he's really emerged faster than we thought he was going to. And so, yeah, they have some depth now going forward. I think is going to be very promising for, like you said, the Tim Lester offense.
Yeah, maybe take some of the weight off the back at the wide receivers, let them continue to develop a little bit.
Right. So obviously coming up on Saturday, that is going to be Senior Day, the last home game of the year in Titanic. I'm a little sad, not going to lie. There are going to be 27 players honored pregame before the game. If you had to pick a most valuable senior, but caveat, it has to be someone who's been with Iowa for more than one season. So we can't just go with the low-hanging fruit of Mark Gronowski. Who would be your most valuable senior?
I would go Jennings Dunker.
Okay.
Left or right tackle. Yeah. Any tackle that you have one of the best in the game, that's massive either side. And throughout his career, he's kind of played on either side as well. So he's turned into, I think, the stone of this Iowa offensive line. You saw it when he went out against USC, among other injuries, of course. But when he went out, that was really the dagger, I think, and Iowa's offense kind of stumbling. So it's gonna be tough without him. I am confident in replacing him, though. Hopefully not too much of a drop off, but I think he's very valuable.
I am shocked by your pick. I thought you were going to go with the hometown guy, Max Llewellyn, on the defensive line. No? You're not picking Johnson's own?
No, not with Yosei sitting back there.
So I'm going to go on the defensive line, Aaron Graves, okay?
Okay.
I think he has a chance to be a third-team All-American. Between him, Max Llewellyn, and Ethan Hurkett, defensive line has been phenomenal this year. He's just been a anchor in the defensive line trenches for the last couple of seasons, and I think his play up front has allowed the young linebackers to flourish this year, and he's always been a very good talking player and media availability. So I'm gonna definitely miss him. I think a dark horse would be TJ Hall. He's always been very media friendly, gives good answers, and his play has definitely improved this year compared to years past. So I think he's been a valuable part of the Doughboys in the defense secondary. So I think he'd be my second answer for most valuable senior.
No, I like that second. I like both answers. D tackle, there's not a lot of depth there. So we're kind of like left up in the air what's going to happen next year. Maybe NIL, bring some transfers in or something. But you really got Bryce Hawthorne there, and he's flashed some potential, but hasn't been consistent. But TJ Hall, I kind of like that. It's a good sneaky pick because, there's not much depth behind him. Again, at defensive back, that was a worry coming into the year, and TJ Hall played really, really good.
I mean, he's waited his time behind players like Jamari Harris, Riley Moss, Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
Could you imagine him being a freshman walking in and just being around these absolute ballers?
It's amazing. And it took him a while, but he stepped up to the moment this season and, continued the tradition of good corners.
Yeah. This is random, but did you ever go to a Iowa River Power restaurant by chance?
No, but I ran past it a decent amount.
Because Cohen Entringer was talking about his official visit alongside TJ Hall, and that they went to that restaurant, but now it's shut down. So I didn't know if you ever got a chance to eat at that diner or whatnot.
No, my friends did, and they said it was pretty amazing food.
Okay.
Good diner, good breakfast food. But no, I had never had the opportunity.
We should have done a story about that place, about how that one meal leads to different people committing to play for Iowa. But
yeah.
Opportunity.
Two potential NFL guards as well.
You're not wrong. Let's go from the gridiron now to the hardwood. It is basketball season in Iowa City. The women's team is 4-0 to start the year, beat UNI by 33. What are your thoughts on the major teams in Iowa, Iowa State, UNI, and Drake playing each other consistently on a yearly basis in women's basketball?
I think it makes a little more sense for women's basketball than it does men's basketball. Kind of hard to put into words, I guess, but men's basketball, I feel like at least Iowa is more on the bubble usually, and those games come down to, either a tight win or a tight loss usually, especially on the men's basketball side as of late. So it makes more sense for women's basketball where I think they're kind of solidified more in the tournament year after year, and it's more of like a fun thing. Like, okay, we're gonna go play at UNI and put their court on the big stage and all that. And I think when it was in its prime was when they had the Big Four at the Well, like Casey Center now. Okay. No one from the 505 would call it Casey Center. It's the Well still in my mind. But when they put them all down there and, Iowa played Drake, Iowa State played UNI, that was a great time. You buy tickets for both games and you get to watch all of the talent in the state. I think they need to bring that back for women's basketball. I don't want them to bring it back for men's basketball, but I would like it, honestly. As an Iowan, I like it. As an Iowa Hawkeye fan, I get a little stressful in those games.
Yeah. The doubleheader in Des Moines, I think that's a really good touch that they should bring back. It was Taylor Stremlow who talked about, there are a lot of friends on both teams of playing each other growing up, and now you get to play each other on the biggest of stages. You had the McCabe sisters playing against each other when Iowa played Drake. It's fun matchups like that I think really help to elevate women's basketball. And so I think it's a good touch that all four teams play consistently on a yearly basis. Like, I kind of agree with you, though. I don't think it would work for men's basketball, but just it's a very cool event. And for Iowa this year, of course, they won against Drake and UNI. They play Iowa State in a couple of weeks, so it's trying to become state champs once again.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of big things up in the air. They're much larger than state champs too, so it'll be fun.
So they are 4-0 so far this year. Who have been the players that really stood out to you?
Chit Chat, right?
Yeah.
Right off the bat. I mean, coming off her best game, 19 points, one missed shot. She's been phenomenal passing the ball like we all kind of thought, but I thought it would take longer for her to start shooting the ball, and here she is just dropping in a couple of trays each of the past two games. I mean, she's fun when she gets out on the court, and she's running so far ahead of everyone in transition too. She's been one of my favorite players to watch already this season, and I've watched her play for all but 4 games.
And this is not just local bias, but I honestly think that Journey Houston from Davenport North has been very impressive. She gets to over 12 minutes a game, but she's making an impact in those moments, whether it's assist, rebounding, both offensive and defensively, and then scoring a couple of shots here or there. Her motor has been talked about by Jan Jensen, where she can carve out a big-time role for this team coming off the bench. And I think she's fully embracing that. Yes, she was the star, one of the stars of Davenport North, but she is a hard-nosed worker, blue-collar. And I think this team needs that. And Journey can see that, okay, this is how I can make an impact as a freshman right away. So she's really set out to me. But also the depth of this team.
Yeah.
They have 4 players right now that are averaging over 10 points. Chit-Chat Wright, you've got Ava Hayden, Layla Hayes, and Hannah Stolke. All right, so 3 of the 4 are bigs down low, which I guess is the Jan Jensen bread and butter. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you have so many weapons on offense, that's hard for teams to guard.
Yeah, and I mean, it just goes to show like how dynamic Iowa is. Because if you feel like some of the main 3-point shooters you thought were going to be the people they turn to, haven't really gotten going. McCabe's had a solid couple of games to start the year, but she hasn't got back to where she was last year, 2 years ago. So, I mean, they can do it inside and out, and this team they got something special, and I think they got something special on both sides of Carver Hawkeye this season.
And someone sitting in this chair said a while back that a sneaky pick for lead scorer on this team might be Emily Rodriguez, all right? Transferring from UCF, she's finding her flow, averaging just under 10 points per game. So you almost have 5 players in double figures. If you can have that consistently, that is a very good offense moving forward.
Yeah, that's a good call by you, Evan. I'll give you credit.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I love the way she plays. I mean, all these players are so fun to watch. Mm-hmm. Rodriguez is, when she drives in, she's a bruiser. She's going to draw that contact, and she takes advantage at the line too. So, I mean, this is a really just entertaining team, and I think we're going to see it turn into a lot of wins, a lot of big wins here once the season really gets underway.
So the Hawkeyes are currently 4-0. A big step up in competition, though, over this next week, all right? Play national powerhouse Baylor, then Miami. They might not win both these games, but what do you hope to learn from the Hawkeyes over the next week and a half?
Just see how they match up against Baylor. Baylor's top 10 in the country. You finally get to play basically on national television, ESPN2, and everyone's gonna be tuned in the state of Iowa. I would like to assume it's gonna be fun, and Miami, it's gonna be interesting. I hate that it's on ESPN Plus, but I feel like Miami is more of like that's gonna be a big game for seeding down the line in bracketology. These are 2 teams that you could see maybe at the 4, maybe as low as like the 8 or the 9. So both will be big games. Baylor, doesn't hurt your season at all if you lose.
Right.
But if you win, then I think people are going to start really buying in.
You're not wrong. I mean, we are still in November, but these games have a very big impact on March down the line where, like you said, you can go from being a 9 seed to maybe getting a 4 seed and hosting a game or 2 inside Carver Hawkeye next March. So this is definitely a game that if you win, like you said, will be a very good resume boost.
Yeah. I think that Miami game is like one that you kind of forget about when you get to Selection Sunday. And oh wait, right. However the outcome is, we beat Miami. We lost to Miami, and so it'll be big.
And the game's also in Florida, not in Miami, but the game is in Florida. So a neutral site, but not really a neutral site. So we are early on into this year, but for next season, Iowa picked up a major recruiting win by getting McKenna Walichko to sign her name and become official Iowa Hawkeye. How impressive and how important is a signing like that for Iowa under Jan Jensen?
I think that is the most important signing that they've had. Addie Deal was a great signing. Don't get me wrong, but to get someone who almost for the entirety of her recruitment, especially down the line, all of that, like the top 3 recruitment was Jan Jensen. I think that's a big get. That shows she can pull in these big recruits like Alicia Bluter, which started to do by the end of her tenure. So I think this is massive to show Iowa can be that program in the Midwest. It can be one of the top in the nation, and they can really continue to build off the Caitlin Clark era.
Now, there's another recruit out there that's highly considering Iowa that we'll talk about next week if she decides to say that she's coming to Iowa City. But she's a good friend of McKenna, so hopefully, knock on wood, She's also wearing the black and gold, but we're not going to talk about her just yet, out of respect for her to announce where she wants to go. So we'll leave it at that. Iowa getting ready to play both Baylor and Miami, so good stuff for them moving forward. Let's go to the men's team now, though. All right. This team, under Ben McCollum, is playing defense. They've held every team so far to under 72 points. My goodness. The Hawkeyes playing defense. We haven't said that sentence in over a decade, if not 2 decades.
Yeah. And the best part about it is everyone knew the defense would be better with McCollum, but the number one worry was, what about the pace of play? Or are they going to score as many points? Yeah.
Yes, they are.
They're going to score maybe not 110 like they did with McCaffrey, but they're going to score in the 90s and only allow 60, 70 points early on, which SEMO, they played Tuesday night. Not a bad team. No. 3 7-footers. That was like my favorite thing about that win was the height's been a worry, a concern, but they went out against 3 monsters and they were able to get rebounds for the most part.
So we'll talk about the play down low in a second, but Bennett Sturts, all right. Personally, I didn't know too much about his defensive game coming into the season. When your best player is willing to get down in defensive stance and play the entire possession, good things happen. And Bennett Sturts had 8 steals through the first 3 games. Wow, he plays both ends of the court, and he is clearly the leader of this team.
Yeah. I mean, this is the guy you want as a leader, right? Yeah. I mean, you can just see it out there. He is a dog, and he's so fun to watch. Watching him at Drake is like, okay, like there's a reason why they were the popular Cinderella pick,
right? Because
they have that dynamic number one guy, number one option, and seeing him in the black and gold, like this kid is special.
No spotlight is too big for Bennett Sturts. I mean, going from Northwest Missouri State to Drake, now to Big Ten basketball at Iowa. He's going to be a fun watch all year long. But one of his running mates from Drake has also stood out to me, Tavion Banks. He can guard 1 through 4. He's long. He's athletic. He gets good rebounds. I think he has the potential to be a first-team all-defensive player in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and for that to come in the black and gold is just amazing. And, he had some of the off-season stuff, off-season noise a little bit, but, I mean, he has came out of the gates and just silenced everything. Right. I think everyone started to buy in on Tavion Banks. I have a couple of Hawkeye friends, and they're like, yeah, this guy is so fun to watch because he just gets after it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, the entire team really does. And it's because they have guys like Sturts and Banks that do get after it. They bring that high energy to the bench.
Then you got players like Brendan Hassan from Kansas State, who is a 3-point sharpshooter. We started to see that against Southeast Missouri State a couple earlier this week. But if you get him consistently playing with Tate Sage, who we talked about, Ben McCollum saying he could be the next Christian Brown, still
waiting for that.
Hold the brakes on that. But no, they've got a legitimate 7 or 8 man rotation, and that now includes Trevin Urich from West Des Moines Valley, who he is a phenomenal passer from the big player point of view.
Yeah, I think when he signed, a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is just McCollum kind of filling out the team. They needed an extra body." Urich was really not sought after by too many teams, so it's pretty easy to pull him over from Des Moines. But he's really shown out, and I think he's going to be a pretty key part of this team, especially once you get in the Big Ten play. Teams are going to get Cam into foul trouble.
Exactly.
Urich's going to have to step up, and it's going to be good. I think he's going to be able to hold it down out there.
Now, I filmed him a couple times at the state tournament, obviously when the dynasty that was West Des Moines Valley with that boys team won 3 straight state titles, but I never thought that he would blossom so quickly into a key part of a Big Ten men's basketball team, but he's definitely proven me wrong that he can also shoot the ball from deep as well.
Yeah, he's got some really nice form. The 3 he had last night at the top of the key, that was really the one that was like, okay, like this guy is legit. Contested defender. You had a defender contesting the shot pretty late. Still made a great shot on there, knocked it through. And I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm thinking not Luka Garza level, but Luka Garza-esque offense where he can go inside and out, make those mid-range jumpers. it'd take a lot to be where Luka Garza
I
was,
praise there,
60%. But I think they can use him the same way that Iowa used Garza for a couple of years there.
Gotcha. Now, I think the X factor for this team is Cale Combs, all right? Because clearly Ben Sturts is the number one point guard. And at some point, you got to think he can't play 40 minutes every single night, right? In a more physical Big Ten conference? No, but I mean, if you want to play him 40 minutes a night, he can't be on the ball the entire time, all right? So when Cale Combs comes in, he needs to be that sixth starter, if you will, take care of the ball, make some couple long-range shots, but run the offense so that the ball doesn't always have to be in Ben Sturts' hands, because at some point, I know he's in great condition, but at some point he's going to have to begin to tire out.
Yeah. Well, you know what McCollum said that bought me in on Sturts playing 35, 40 minutes a game was all these TV timeouts. He says you can just use those as rest. And I'm like, yeah, I actually love that approach, because there is so many TV timeouts in these games. I remember when it used to be like an hour and a half, and now it feels like 2 hours. And same with like football. It used to be like, oh, it's a 3-hour thing. Now it's like a 4-hour event to watch a game. So you got a lot of TV timeouts, a lot of time for break. And I like how McCollum's kind of thinking about that with Sturts.
I mean, you got under 16, under 12, under 8, under 4.
You got that floater.
Then the rinse and repeat in the second half. So yeah, Ben McCollum, he makes a lot of sense with that.
Yeah, there's long timeouts too. It's like a couple minutes. It's not the quick 30-second timeout. So.
Now, a big part of basketball off the court is fashion. All right, let's be honest about that. Mm-hmm. Ben McCollum, he keeps it very cool, calm, collected. The same suit, same tie all the time. But you compare that to other coaches who wear, track suits or polo shirts. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the old-fashioned approach by Ben McCollum, going suit and tie for every game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I don't know what flipped. It was like during COVID.
I think it was COVID.
Yeah. And all these coaches came out wearing quarter zips and joggers. And I'm like, guys, what happened to getting mad at the ref and throwing your jacket off, loosening the tie? Like, that was aura.
It was, yes.
It's so much more fun when they're like dressed to win, dressed for success, and they can do all those shenanigans on the sideline with the coat and the tie and everything.
Now, Ben McCollum said post-game that he enjoys being uncomfortable. So he doesn't always like wearing suits, but you know what? He's like, if I'm too comfortable on game days, that's just not who I am. So I'm like, you know what, Coach? You haven't lost yet at Iowa. Keep it going, man. Like, it's a nice look, suit and tie. It looks very professional.
Yeah, and the thing I noticed last night, too, is he doesn't really have a spot on the bench to sit, which I also love. I want my coach to be up and at it in the ref's ear constantly, talking to the players on the court. And I mean, it seems like he's basically out there, the amount that he's moving around.
He's always hyping up the crowd and everything. So they have one more game coming up against Chicago State, which you think they should win before they take on Ole Miss, who made it to the NCAA tournament a year ago. So that should probably be Iowa's first test under McCollum on a neutral site. But if you had to give a grade to Iowa so far through the first 4 games, what would it be?
Solid A.
Solid A.
Solid
Here
A.
we go.
I mean, you can't really complain. I think the game that I was like, they have to beat Xavier by a considerable amount, they won by 19, and it was never really close at any point. So, yeah, they've done everything right. They've played good defense. They've only allowed a team hit 70 once, and that was Chimo last night. So,
and they barely got there.
Yeah, hit 70 on the dot. So, yeah, no, they've been phenomenal, and they gotta be ready for this Ole Miss game next 2 weeks.
Yep.
Or next week, 7 days.
Well, we'll definitely learn a lot about the Iowa Hawkeyes under Ben McCollum. Let's go back to football for a second, all right? It is the home finale, senior day on Saturday, taking on Michigan State, who has lost 7 straight games. But they have a quarterback on the roster who we just happen to have the president of the Aiden Childs fan club sitting across from me. Your guy's been benched a couple times recently. What's been going on in East Lansing?
I would say don't worry about it too much. No, Aiden Childs, he's flashy. He's a lot of fun. But in the college game, you can't always be flashy and fun. So they have a lot of other issues going on at Michigan State. They don't really have a full team. It's not even, I would say it's a shred of what they were last year when they beat Iowa on their home turf. I mean, they haven't won in the Big Ten yet. So some glaring issues there. I think it's going to be a pretty easy win for Iowa as far as the Big Ten goes, but If Aiden Childs gets out there and he makes a good play to bring the score within 35, I might. No.
Being the Michigander on the set, there's been a lot of talk back in my home state about whether or not Jonathan Smith is the right guy for MSU. Yes, he brought Aiden Childs with him from Oregon State, and it really hasn't panned out. And now, like you were saying, they're winless in the Big Ten. And looking at the possibility of going 0-8 to having to win their final game to just even get a Big Ten win, I think if Iowa puts it on MSU, Jonathan Smith will be unemployed by the end of the year at inside East Lansing.
I agree. I mean, Michigan State, they have pretty solid history out there, and ever since they got rid of D'Antonio, I feel like they haven't made that right hire. So I mean, yet their program where you're like, okay, well, they haven't found the right guy because they got overly aggressive, probably getting rid of their head coach.
Kenneth Walker is the reason why Michigan did not win that game a couple of years ago. I'm not salty or anything, but since that moment, MSU football has really been going downhill. And hopefully on Saturday, they don't get a chance to right that ship and turn things around.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Is I think the thought held around by a lot of people, considering Iowa's 16.5-point favorite.
Yeah, that's kind of a massive point spread right there, is it not?
Yeah, I think we only usually see that non-con. I don't even think Wisconsin or Minnesota was that big of a spread.
And the over-under is 42.5, so I think that's a probably safe bet to go with the over on that, respectfully.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah. How's it going to feel walking out of Kenny for the last time this year?
It's like every year. It's going to be a little sad. It's like, wow, the season's already gone. I mean, only 3 more games left this season to talk ball about the Hawks, and then it's just looking forward to next year. So It goes by so quick. You get to August, and you're like, man, we got such a long season ahead, a lot of big games, and everything to watch. But now it's dwindling down, and it is sad. It's sad.
I always tell people that college football is the fastest season when you're in it because, I mean, like you and I, we're both invested into teams, and we follow them, and then, wow, blink of an eye, it's over with. And then you got the long off season all over again.
Yeah. Luckily, some good basketball teams to pay attention to in the playoff, even though Iowa's not going to be in it. But I think this is going to be probably the best playoff I think we've ever seen.
I think it'll be a great playoff with Michigan playing inside the playoff as well.
I don't think so, but you can dream.
A guy can dream. I like that. All right, so MSU and Iowa kick off at 2:30 inside Kinnick Stadium, the last home game of the year. It's going to be senior day. Alongside Joel Keller, Evan Den for Hawkeye HHQ Weekly podcast. Have a great rest of your week.